This video is about benches.
Benches. Benches! What are benches? Is this a benches? Why do they call it bench press when they're not pressing anything? No, seriously, what are benches? This video necessitates you thinking about what benches are, or more specifically, what benches means to you. Because in this video, we'll be talking about one of the greatest icon of apathy in human history. This is a bench. But this particular bench is a perfect example of exclusionary hostile architecture.
Hostile architectures are designs that are made in such a way to dissuade people to use a piece of furniture or utility in certain ways. For example, this bench doesn't need to have this divider in the middle. It doesn't make it cheaper, it doesn't make it easier to produce, it doesn't do anything except prevent people from lying down. This is a architectural design that is meant to dissuade people from sleeping on benches.
Not all hostile architectures are exclusionary. For example, this curve is used to dissuade public urination. Pee goes on, pee bounce back on your leg, no pee there. And so are humps on roads to reduce dangerous speeding. These are just a prevention better than cure kind of thing. Others, however, prevent things that aren't being cured. For example, the bench with the divider that I showed you earlier, that prevents people from lying down on it. It is meant to stop homeless or unhoused people from sleeping on them. And some people think that's okay. A bench, after all, is for public to sit on. You shouldn't be taking up too much space for too long. But that's only a reasonable argument in isolation. That's only possible if a bench means just sitting down to you. Because a bench can mean different things to different people. Which is why we need to ask, what does a bench mean to you? Or more importantly, what does a bench mean to people who need them?
Because for me, a bench is just a place to rest, a place to take the weight off my feet after a whole day of walking. I don't really use it for much other than to catch a breath and watch the world go by. It's a pause button. But I would assume that if you were a homeless or an unhoused person, a bench would mean a lot. Because if you were homeless, a bench is a place to sleep. It means when you lie down, you get to close your eyes. It means when the rain comes and washes away everything on the ground, your back stays dry. Sleep, everyone gets to sleep. But even that little action of humanity is made difficult by hostile environment.
A sort of good faith argument against rough sleepers on benches like these are that they aren't supposed to be sleeping there in the first place. We have shelters and institutions and rental apartments for that. So these hostile benches are to encourage rough sleepers to find these places that we have so graciously provided them to sleep there instead. They are doing homelessness wrong, you see. But this is a kind of chicken before the egg fallacy. Its methodology is flawed from the outset. It's giving an answer without knowing what the question actually is. People are not choosing to sleep on benches despite shelters existing. They're sleeping on benches because for one reason or another, the shelters aren't a deciding factor. While a roof overhead is great, it's not the only thing they have to consider. For some reason, we treat the homeless and unhoused as a monolith instead of different individuals with different needs. If your job is at night, for example, you need somewhere to sleep in the day because shelters aren't always open. If you're a victim of sexual assault, you might not trust people enough to sleep with strangers. If you're an underage runaway from an abusive family, you might no longer trust being near adults. If you're being chased by criminals after escaping a gang, having a publicly known, to put it in gaming terms because I am a lead gamer, spawn point is a great way to get spawn camped. Or realistically, if you work far away from a shelter, you're going to sleep on the bench next to your workplace to save on travel time and cost. Most of Singapore's homeless are in our CBD district, working as cleaners and guards. And if you have nothing to your name, living from paycheck to paycheck in one of the most expensive cities in the world, those few dollars a day it takes to travel can be exchanged for a meal, or a new shirt, or saved for an actual home. If you're one of the many disabled homeless in Singapore legally working for less than $5 an hour, travel costs can be nearly 30% of your income. At that point of your life, with everything against you, you're weighing every single decision in your life. Not just if you can afford to eat or sleep, but can you afford to walk or ride? If you want to learn new skills, can you afford the time off from work to pick up courses? Can you afford the time to go to a library? Money doesn't matter at a library, but the time does. Can you afford the time to not sleep on a bench?
Even this bench that I've been lying on isn't really fit for purpose. It's slightly slanted and curved so that when you are unconscious, you are always slightly shifting off to the side. You have to make a conscious effort to stay on this bench. There's a gap in the spine that prevents you from fully leaning your weight into it. So you will always be slightly pulled over by gravity to the floor. You have to consciously sleep on this bench. That's what it means by hostile architecture. And let's also talk about light. Ignore the pole, I couldn't get it out. For most of us, light is just a way for us to see where we're going, to look at the world around us. But if you're homeless or unhoused, light is a measure of safety. Since men discovered fire, we have used light to denote places where you are being watched, being looked after. The Dark Ages weren't just the Dark Ages because of bad stuff happening in the background. Sure, but it was also the Dark Ages because it was literally dark. Light means that you can leave your belongings next to you while you take a break, while you close your eyes, without having the fear that they will be stolen from right under you. Well, you'll still be afraid of that happening, but not as much. When we make these chairs and benches and public utilities hostile to the homeless, we move them to places that are dark, where they can't be seen, and subsequently they become less safe.
We don't want to see them, the people who sleep on the streets. And trust me, I understand that impulse. It's difficult to go about your day if you have to confront systemic inequality every time you see a person lying on a bench. But just because we hide them away doesn't mean homelessness disappears. We just push them onto darker paths, literally and figuratively, making it more dangerous for them. And we end up making excuses for why we do things this way, without addressing the root problem. These are Singapore's public rental schemes, and I want you to think about something while you look at them. If you were to become homeless or unhoused tomorrow under the most common reasons, abusive family, bankruptcy, runaway, loss of job, death of a caretaker, which one of these schemes do you fall under? Pause the video and take a look, and get back to me once you have an answer. Because personally, I don't fall under any of them. I haven't fallen under any of them for the past 11 years, and I won't fall under any of them for another 4 more. If I was homeless tomorrow, or any time in the last decade, I'm screwed. I'm pretty sure a good portion of you are too. Because we're all different people living under vastly different lives. A couple of highly specific guidelines cannot possibly account for the different walks of life and problems people in destitution face. One of the biggest hurdles in Singapore's homeless issue is subsidized rental apartments for low-income people, especially singles. The joint single scheme requires 2 people to sign up for a single apartment, and a lot of homeless and unhoused will refuse this because they can't get along with their roommates for one reason or another. Bad attitude, abusive, loud, hoarding, it could be any number of reasons. And one of the more troubling arguments I've heard is that if a person is too problematic that they can't even handle a single roommate, maybe they don't deserve a home. And to which I ask, why? Why are we treating these people in a way that would be unacceptable to any other person? Let's not even get into the weave of how many of the homeless and unhoused might have mental health issues or parasocial trauma. But if you are a housed working adult with stable income and you can't stand your roommate for whatever reason, you're allowed to move. If you're someone in an abusive relationship at home, not only are you encouraged to leave, you're pitied if you can't. If you or I move into a single apartment by ourselves because we enjoy solitude, that's fine too. If a proposed job location is too far, we can choose to move or not to take the job. Even a rich millionaire living in their own 10-room mansion isn't just accepted, it's a societal goal. But suddenly, if you're homeless, if you're at the lowest point of your life, you're told to suck all this up and just bear with it. What? You don't like this home with a terrible situation we got you? Well, too bad. If you don't like it here, you don't get a home. That millionaire over there who lives alone because they don't like people, that guy is fine. But you're homeless and suffering and in pain from trauma and abandonment and an economic failure to society. You deserve less respect because you're poor. So you shouldn't be picky. Poor people don't get to choose. You don't deserve the comfort of solitude, privacy, and safety in your own home because you choose to sleep on benches. Oh wait, I forgot. You're not allowed to. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. A little extra thing that I found out while researching for this that I couldn't add into the main body of the video was the argument that we just don't have enough money in the country to give people homes. And I found out that if you took all the money from the richest 1% of this country, it would be the same amount of wealth as the bottom 99% combined. Meaning that if they gave us all their money, every family in Singapore could theoretically own another home tomorrow. Every single family. All of us. That's how much money they have, okay? If only there was a way we could take that excessive wealth from that richest 1% and assign it to public housing projects for the poorest 10%. Somehow. And build 500,000 new affordable or even free homes. But I mean, there's no way we can do that. It's not like we have a way for the government to take money from the people for just such a thing that rhymes with X's. Probably have something to do with Singapore being an X haven for the ultra LT or something. Oh well, I guess there's nothing we can do. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you to my Patreons for your continued support. Eat the rich. Bye bye.